Now, if you switch to a new provider for your internet access later this year, you will be forced to make a choice. Do you want access to adult content or not? If you're with one of the big four providers, you won't be able to get online until you answer. This is a fresh step taken to protect younger teenagers from hardcore material, which is sometimes seen by children who've barely started secondary school. Even so, the move is controversial. It alarms firms which say they run lawful sites already restricted to adults, and it alarms those who fear for the free nature of the internet. Nick Ravenscroft reports.
Two simple facts to kick off. There is a lot of pornography on the internet, and a lot of people look at it. Indeed, a survey last year suggested 4 in 5 young men had done. But after that, it gets more complicated. What effect is it having on them, and what, if anything, should be done about it? The TNS poll for Radio 1's Newsbeat suggested concerns among many about how much porn they were watching online, and the types of images. But those questioned were young adults. Statistics for under 18s are hard to come by, though anecdotally, the evidence is there.
Literally a day doesn't go by that I don't hear from a youngster who is being affected or pressured or worried in some way by internet pornography.
Deirdre Sanders and her team get up to 1,000 emails a week from people of all ages, but typically 12 and above. As Dear Deirdre, the son's agony aunt, she's noticed an increasing number of emails from children affected by pornography they've seen on the net.
You get young girls being pressured into types of sex which are just not the sort of sex that you would start your sex life with. Having threesomes, for example, totally inappropriate. I'm talking about a girl of 14 writing about that. And sometimes they'll actually specify and say that their boyfriend has got his ideas off the internet, you know, if it's from watching pornography. And sometimes I get boys writing into me complaining because their girlfriend won't do these things that they've seen on the internet.
Young people have been looking at pornography, whether it be VHS videos or magazines. They've been doing it for decades, and this is no different.
It is very, very different in that before it was something that young people could access occasionally. You had to be brave enough to go in and buy a magazine from a shop or from a sex shop or get a video, and OK, a video might be passed around the boys at school, but it really wasn't that common. Now, youngsters are walking around, they can access it on their smartphone, they've got it on their laptop in their bedroom, so this is something that they can be looking at from when they first get up in the morning to way late in the night.
Surf the net and you find web forums for people who are affected by pornography, in some cases feeling addicted to it. Many of the contributors are early teenaged. These postings, voiced by actors, give a flavour.
Please help me. I'm tired of watching porn. It's driving me crazy. I tried to quit so many times but always fail. I'm thinking about porn even when I'm with my family, in school or with friends. But once I'm in my room, I'm on the computer. Then somehow out of nowhere the temptation of watching porn comes and it knocks all the hard work of trying to quit. And then I feel so guilty and hate myself. I'm tired of living this way. I want to quit this addiction.
One night I decided to Google sex videos. I scrolled down the page and I saw the words porn and XXX, and I didn't know what these meant. So I clicked on one of them and it blew my mind. At first I had to cover my eyes. I was disgusted. I explored the site more and I found myself shaking even though I wasn't cold. The site was very addictive.
Right, come on, let's crack on.
Yeah.
How much longer?
About 3 minutes, hardcore like that. Here we go. And action.
I wanted to speak to someone who actually makes pornography for the internet. Lizelle Bailey directs her own films and is the head of scheduling for Television X, which broadcasts on digital TV as well as online. She invited me to the shooting of their latest production to tell me how they try to stop children seeing the kind of hardcore sex scenes being played out before us.
On our websites, we don't have any explicit content before you're behind the paywall. So everything in the front end, there's some topless images, but there's nothing more than that. Now we've made it so you have to pay with a credit card, not even a debit card. You actually have to be 18 to get a credit card. So we're trying as much as possible to make it so that children can't access this material.
She accepts, however, that some children do see it, maybe because their porn-consuming parents are lax with their passwords or are unusually liberal in what they let their children see. But for pornographers like Lizelle Bailey, whose company makes its money from subscribers, the real problem, she says, is elsewhere on the web.
We don't want our content to be freely and readily available. We want to obviously have paying customers. And our content is adult entertainment. We've never made this for children, it's for adults. But obviously the tube sites, which are free, and plenty of people who are putting content online who are not falling in line with these measures and are not, if you like, established, reputable companies, that's where all the porn's getting out on the internet. But of course, we get the bad reputation for it.
The porn tubing sites are modelled on businesses like YouTube, which make money from advertising. The idea is that people upload videos of themselves having sex, which anyone can view for free. Very democratic, you might think. Although how far the material is produced by Joe and Joanna Public and how far it's actually manufactured by the porn industry varies. But the content is very hardcore, and it couldn't be easier to access. So let me demonstrate. Here I am on one of the big search engines and I type in a single obvious word to search. Press return. And hey presto, page 1 of the results has got, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10 of these free porn sites. And I click on the first one and immediately I've got a screen full of very graphic hardcore images. Now I could click on any or all of these and instantly be watching video after video after video, and so could a child or a young teenager. John Woods, a child and adolescent psychotherapist at the Portman Clinic in North London, argues that whereas under 18s are legally protected from certain adult activities, the internet has opened up a loophole which needs to be closed.
Not many people would argue for a completely unrestricted access of children to alcohol or gambling, or indeed many other forms of adult activity where we depend upon adults to be able to regulate themselves. Children can clearly not do so. Added to which, pornography has got its own inherent particular dangers in that the imagery they see, children are simply not ready for it. And what we see are cases where children are traumatised.
Last year, the government published an independent review of the commercialisation and sexualisation of childhood by Reg Bailey, the chief executive of the Mothers Union. It called for urgent action from the internet industry to better enable parents to filter what their children see online. And in response, the big 4 internet service providers, that's BT, TalkTalk, Virgin Media and Sky, have pledged to force new customers to make a choice when their service is installed or activated. Do they or do they not want adult content filtered out?
Radio 4 was a little bit older.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I always listen to Radio 4 like 2 o'clock in the morning.
Hello, Radio 4.
Back at the porn shoot, the actors and crew are warming to the idea of a BBC journalist there recording their work.
You're listening to the voices of porn stars.
Sure this would be out here on Radio 4, would it?
Apparently.
There is an effort across the adult entertainment industry to be perceived as just another legitimate media business, hence my invitation on set. Indeed, Television X, which has commissioned this pornographic film, is part of the same group as Express Newspapers, OK Magazine and Channel 5. So what does Channel X think about the move to force internet users to choose whether they want porn filtered out? Head of Scheduling, Lizelle Bailey.
I think making people opt in, you're already suggesting that this is something bad, that this is something that your average person, a normal person, should not want in their home. And I think that's a very negative thing. And I'm not just saying that as a pornographer, I'm saying that as someone who enjoyed porn and often felt guilty for that. And I think we're sending out a very negative message if we're making people feel that they have to go through possibly that embarrassment and that shame of saying, I want porn on my computer, please.
And yet the reason that those controls are being called for is not because of adults like you, like me, it's because of children and young teenagers. And surely there is an argument for tightening up the access to porn because of those people.
I agree that there is. You know, I do understand where this is coming from. I'm not going to be silly about it. But at the same time, I feel that when we start to restrict adults and we start to restrict the whole of society for the sake of protecting children and treating them with kid gloves, I don't think that's healthy. And I think when we start to have this hysterical reaction to get rid of it, well, that might solve the problem of children seeing it, but then what other problems is it creating?
But under pressure, internet service providers will introduce the measure this year, fearing that if they don't do it themselves, they'll be forced to by law, though the protections being proposed are limited. Only the big four broadband providers have signed up, and even those will ask only new customers to choose whether adult content is filtered out or not. So children and teenagers in the homes of their millions of existing customers will have little or no restriction on surfing free porn sites, unless their parents have the initiative and technical know-how to do it themselves.
Nick Ravenscroft reporting.